Imagine spending 40 years of your life chasing the wrong things, believing in lies you were told about what matters, only to realize in the end that the truth is simple, clear, and powerful, but it could have been understood in just 14 minutes. That's what I want to give you today, 14 minutes that could save you 40 years of struggle, confusion, and regret. You see, most of us wander through life thinking that success is about how much money we make, how many people notice us, or how many trophies we collect. But the reality, the deep truth that took me 4 decades to understand, is far simpler and far more profound. The first thing I want you to understand is that life doesn't care about your excuses. Life doesn't bend because you're tired, because you're afraid, because you failed before. Life moves forward relentlessly. And it rewards one thing above all else: the person who shows up, who keeps learning, and who refuses to settle for mediocrity disguised as comfort. I spent years thinking that the path to happiness was external: the perfect job, the perfect partner, the perfect house, the perfect image. I chased validation, applause, and recognition, only to feel emptier every time I achieved what I thought would matter. I worked my fingers to the bone for approval that never came in the form I expected. I invested in people who drained me instead of inspired me. And I wasted countless hours on distractions because I was too scared to face the quiet truth. I was running from myself. And here's the lesson that took me 40 years to fully internalize. Your inner life shapes your outer life more than anything else. No amount of money, fame, or validation will give you peace if you are at war with yourself. Your thoughts, your choices, your discipline, your integrity, they compound quietly over time. That small habit you neglect today, that negative thought you allow to linger, that fear you refuse to confront, they are building blocks. Slowly, imperceptibly, they construct the architecture of your destiny. When I finally understood this, I realized that everything I had been taught about success was upside down. Success isn't about proving yourself to the world. It's about proving yourself to yourself. It's about becoming the person who can handle what life throws at them with grace, with resilience, with wisdom. Every failure, every heartbreak, every moment of shame or embarrassment contains the raw material for transformation, if you know how to see it. I've seen people in their 20s waste decades trying to impress, only to discover in their 40s that they are empty, unfulfilled, and terrified they've wasted their best years. And I've seen others embrace struggle, embrace learning, embrace discomfort. And by the same age, they are full of peace, confidence, and impact. The difference is not luck. The difference is how they choose to live each day. So here's what I've learned that I want you to grasp in the next 14 minutes. First, take radical responsibility for your life. Stop blaming circumstances. Stop blaming other people. Stop waiting for a sign from the universe. The power to change your life, the power to become the person you were meant to be, lives inside you right now. Responsibility is not punishment. It is freedom. Freedom comes when you stop outsourcing your happiness to external factors and start cultivating it internally. Second, prioritize what matters most. Most of us scatter our energy across 100 different things that don't actually move the needle in our lives. We chase attention, distractions, superficial validation, and temporary pleasures, while the truly meaningful work, the work that builds character, relationships, and resilience, gets neglected. Learn to say no. Learn to focus. And learn to protect your time like the precious, non-renewable resource it is. Third, embrace discomfort as your teacher. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. The people who thrive in life are not those who avoid challenges. They are those who meet them head on, who fail, who fall, who get up, and who extract the lesson hidden inside each struggle. Your comfort zone is a cage. Your growth happens when you step beyond it consistently. Fourth, invest in yourself relentlessly. Read, study, reflect, meditate, move your body, nourish your mind, and cultivate emotional intelligence. The person you are today is the sum of the books you've read, the conversations you've had, the experiences you've processed, and the self-awareness you've built. Nothing external can replace the compound effect of daily self-investment. Fifth, master your attention. Attention is the most valuable currency in your life. Where your attention goes, energy flows. The thoughts you entertain, the media you consume, the people you spend your time with, all of it shapes your reality. Guard your attention. Choose it wisely. And refuse to give it away to distractions that numb or manipulate you. Sixth, understand that relationships are everything. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of your connections. Invest in people who lift you, challenge you, and expand your perspective. Distance yourself from toxicity, envy, and negativity, no matter how familiar it feels. Your inner circle becomes your external reality. Seventh, develop a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. Too many of us live with the belief that there's never enough time. Money, success, love, or recognition. Scarcity drives fear, competition, and self-sabotage. Abundance fosters creativity, generosity, collaboration, and courage. The moment you truly believe there is enough for everyone, you start living differently, and opportunities that seemed impossible begin to appear. Eighth, be honest with yourself about your story. We all carry narratives about who we are, what we deserve, and what is possible. Most of these stories are lies we've accepted from others or from fear. Challenge your story. Rewrite it intentionally. Choose to see yourself as capable, resilient, and worthy of what you desire. Ninth, practice gratitude and presence. Life unfolds in moments, not in grand achievements or distant goals. Gratitude is not a cliche. It is a lens that rewires your brain to notice abundance instead of lack, to notice love instead of resentment, to notice opportunity instead of limitation. Presence allows you to engage fully with the world and people around you, to experience life instead of merely surviving it. And finally, act. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. You can read every book, watch every video, attend every seminar, and still live a life of quiet despair if you do not implement. Action is the bridge between what you know and what you become. It is imperfect, messy, and risky, but it is the only way forward. When I look back on my 40 years, the regrets are not the mistakes I made, they are the things I didn't try. The conversations I didn't have, the risks I didn't take because fear or pride or laziness held me back. But the lessons, the profound insights, the wisdom I finally grasped are now yours in 14 minutes. You don't have to wait 40 years to understand them. You can begin applying them today, this hour, this minute. Your life will not transform overnight. But if you start right now with clarity, discipline, and courage, the compounding effect of your choices will shape a life that 40-year-old me could only dream of. So, take responsibility. Focus on what matters. Embrace discomfort. Invest in yourself. Guard your attention. Nurture relationships. Live abundantly. Rewrite your story. Practice gratitude and act decisively. Do these things consistently, and you will look back one day, not with regret, but with a quiet, deep satisfaction. The kind of satisfaction that comes from knowing you have lived fully, authentically, and purposefully. That's the gift I wish I had known at 20, 30, even 35. But today, you have it in 14 minutes. Don't squander it. Don't wait. Start now. Transform your thinking. Transform your habits. Transform your life. 40 years of learning condensed into 14 minutes. Now, it's up to you to make it count. And if you do, if you commit, if you act, your future self will thank you in ways you cannot yet imagine. And that's the real reward, the life you truly deserve. Imagine spending 40 years of your life chasing the wrong things, believing in lies you were told about what matters only to. Realize in the end that the truth is simple, clear, and powerful, but it could have been understood in just 14 minutes. That's what I want to give you today. 14 minutes that could save you 40 years of struggle, confusion, and regret. Most people live life on autopilot, drifting through one year to the next, chasing the next big thing without ever stopping to ask the questions that really matter. We are told, work hard, get the degree, find a good job, make money, buy a house, live happily ever after. But 40 years of my life taught me that formula is a lie. The truth is, the system will give you a job, it will give you a home, it will give you comfort, but it will not give you fulfillment, purpose, or peace. Those things come from within. I spent years thinking that success was about external validation. I thought happiness came from other people noticing me, applauding me, admiring me. I chased promotions, trophies, and recognition like a moth to a flame, only to find that the flame was an illusion. It burned bright for a moment, then left me colder than before. I invested in relationships that drained me, friendships that faded, and love that disappointed, because I was too scared to be alone with myself. I wasted time scrolling through the lives of strangers online, comparing, resenting, feeling less than, when all along the missing piece was not external, it was internal. The first truth I want you to understand is simple. Your inner life shapes your outer life. Every thought, every choice, every small habit compounds over time to create the reality you live in. I remember being in my 20s thinking that failure was the enemy. I avoided risks. I avoided discomfort. I avoided people who challenged me. I wanted the easy path. And what did that get me? Stagnation, anxiety, quiet desperation. It was only when I started paying attention to the small choices, the way I spoke to myself, the thoughts I allowed, the daily routines I followed, that things began to shift. It turns out the small things are the big things. A single habit, repeated consistently, can either build you into the person you dream of becoming or erode you into someone you barely recognize. And the hardest part, most people don't even realize it. We live in a world of distraction, of instant gratification, of noise. Our attention is stolen by notifications, by meaningless drama, by comparisons. We are fed messages that happiness is outside of us, when in reality, it is cultivated silently, quietly, every single day. That brings me to the first key lesson. Take radical responsibility for your life. Stop blaming your parents, your upbringing, the economy, your boss, or anyone else for your circumstances. Every moment you spend giving your power away is a moment you could have used to reclaim it. Responsibility is not punishment. It is liberation. The moment you take full ownership of your choices, your emotions, and your actions, you regain the ability to shape your life intentionally. I spent years blaming luck, circumstances, and other people, only to realize that the very act of blaming was the thing keeping me trapped. Once I embraced responsibility, everything changed. Suddenly, I wasn't a victim, I was a creator. The second lesson is focus. Most of us scatter our energy across 100 directions: social media, gossip, entertainment, busy work, people-pleasing, distractions disguised as productivity. Meanwhile, the work that actually shapes your life-developing skill, building relationships, mastering your mind, gets ignored. Focus is the secret to compounding success. 1 hour of deliberate, intense work on the right thing will do more than 100 hours of scattered, unfocused effort. Learn to say no. Learn to prioritize and protect your attention like it's gold, because it is. Third, embrace discomfort. I learned this the hard way. The first time I pushed myself beyond fear, beyond embarrassment, beyond the urge to quit, I discovered the secret that life has been hiding all along. Growth and pain travel together. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not those who avoid struggle. They are those who walk through it again and again, collecting lessons, strength, and resilience. Discomfort is not your enemy. It is your teacher, your ally, your guide to the person you were meant to become. Fourth, invest in yourself relentlessly. Your body, your mind, your emotional intelligence, your knowledge, all of it is a bank account. What you put in compounds over time. I spent decades ignoring this. I thought self-improvement was optional. It is not. Every book you read, every habit you cultivate, every conversation that challenges you is a deposit into the future you. If you neglect it, the withdrawal will be painful later. Fifth, master your attention. Attention is your superpower. Where your focus goes, energy flows. Most people let their attention be hijacked by fear, envy, distraction, and trivial things. Control it. Choose it wisely. Protect it like a fortress, because attention builds reality. Sixth, the people around you determine your trajectory. Relationships matter more than anything else. I wasted years in toxic friendships and draining connections. I tolerated envy, jealousy, and negativity. Once I consciously curated my circle, surrounded myself with people who inspire, challenge, and elevate me, life changed in ways I could never have predicted. Seventh, abundance mindset. Scarcity is a prison. Scarcity breeds fear, competition, and bitterness. Abundance creates generosity, creativity, and courage. When you truly believe there's enough time, opportunity, love, recognition, you start living differently. Opportunities that seemed impossible before suddenly appear because your mind is no longer in survival mode. Eighth, rewrite your story. We all carry narratives about who we are, what we deserve, and what is possible. Most of these stories are lies. I spent 30 years believing I wasn't enough, that I had to earn love, respect, and success through constant proving. When I questioned that story and began to write a new one that said, I am capable, resilient, worthy, and ready, everything shifted. Ninth, gratitude and presence. Life unfolds in moments, not achievements. I learned too late that chasing the next goal without appreciating the now is a recipe for emptiness. Gratitude rewires your brain to notice abundance. Presence allows you to engage fully with life. Combine them, and suddenly, ordinary moments become extraordinary. 10th, and this is the final piece, action. Knowledge without action is wasted potential. Ideas, insights, realizations, they are useless if you don't implement them. Start imperfectly. Start small. Start boldly, but start. Because 40 years of thinking without doing taught me this. Regret is born not from mistakes, but from action. When I look back, my failures are teachers. My missed opportunities, my fears, my shame, they are the raw materials of transformation. They would have crushed me if I had let them. But when I acted despite fear, despite doubt, despite uncertainty, I grew stronger, wiser, more capable. And now, I offer these lessons to you in 14 minutes. You don't have to wait 40 years. You don't have to stumble blindly, make the same mistakes, or endure decades of frustration. You can start today, right now, right in this moment. Take radical responsibility, focus, embrace discomfort, invest in yourself, master attention, cultivate relationships, believe in abundance, rewrite your story, practice gratitude, and act decisively. Do these things consistently, and your life will change in ways that 40-year-old me could only dream of. Imagine looking back 10, 20, 30 years from now and seeing a life built intentionally, thoughtfully, and courageously. That life is possible. The path is here. The map is in your hands. And the greatest secret I discovered after 40 years is this: it was never about luck, talent, or circumstance. It was always about choices, the small choices, repeated consistently over time. Each moment is an opportunity to choose differently, to step closer to the life you deserve. Do not waste another second waiting. Begin now. Transform your thoughts, your habits, your relationships, your focus, your courage, your gratitude. 40 years of learning, distilled into 14 minutes, is now in front of you. Use it wisely. Commit fully. And one day, your future self will look back, not with regret, but with deep, profound satisfaction, knowing that you lived fully, authentically, and purposefully. This is your life. Own it. Live it. Make it extraordinary.